Now arriving at Lijiang Tower. Initiating match.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. Today we have the Great Danes against the Golden Gaels. Now, since we don't really have the matchup yet, it will be interesting to see what they come up with each other. And it looks like the Golden Gaels are going with Genji, Cassidy, Hamster. Who's that? Anna and Bridget. And it looks like UAlbany is going for Echo, Sojourn, Kirito, Orisa, and
4, 3, 2, round 1. Capture the objective.
and we are off to the start. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens here, since I feel like this is the first time we've ever seen this happen. And it looks like Orisa is going in a little bit more aggressive than the others. Looks like the back line was not really staying in the back right now. I love that Hamster really went in there and tried to get Kirito, but it seems like they are not letting him take any of their members just yet. It does look like some of UAlbany members' health is getting a little bit critical, but it doesn't look like they're coming back. They are taking some members out of the Golden Gaels team, even though they did lose one of their members. And oh no, and it looks like UAlbany has 4 of their members killed, white. And it doesn't look too hot for them, but the Orisa is still there and she is standing her ground. And it looks like she is not giving up, and even though she was doing very well, she still could not hold it forever. And even though her team is back, she is still gone, but it is good though that her team is back, because now they can apply some pressure onto the Golden Gaels in hopes of perhaps taking the point back a little bit earlier. And it looks very interesting to see what the Hamster would be doing, because he is now currently going to the back line once more with the Orisa going for the healers as well. And it looks like Cassidy's off the side here. He is perhaps waiting for a good moment, waiting for a good spot to actually ambush them. And it looks like he has his eyes on Orisa, and Orisa does not want to give Cassidy a chance, and Orisa takes Cassidy, and it doesn't seem like the Golden Gaels are going to be pushing UAlbany back, because they are getting pushed back right now by UAlbany. And Orisa pops her and does in fact push them back even more while taking some of their members. It really is interesting to see how UAlbany couldn't really nail the first confrontation, but did manage to push them back later on. Now we can look at the Hamster here. He's actually going for the flank. Now, he's waiting for the moment, he's waiting for the right moment, and he is capturing the point. UAlbany is now going back to the point and to focus their attention on Hamster, but he does not want that attention on him. He takes one of UAlbany's members, and he's going in like he does not care at all, and he's ravaging some of UAlbany's members. And would you look at that, and oh no, UAlbany is losing ground, and they are forced to retreat, and it doesn't look too hot for UAlbany right now. It seems like a very evenly matched setup as of now, with them trading shots constantly, and not a single confrontation is really that one-sided with how things are going right now. It does look, and there might be some interesting things going on, who knows. And it looks like Genji here is on the front trying to get them killed, and it doesn't look like Hamster managed to get Orisa, and even though the Hamster did die afterwards, and Venture also got killed, and that's not that great. And it looks like UAlbany is back on the point, because they lured the Golden Gaels up outside, but now the Golden Gaels are back inside the point. Let's see if UAlbany is coming in through the front with Orisa being on the front line, and it does look like it might work there, but the Hamster does not want that. He's going back there. And with Avenger also going back into their backlines with a hamster. So the Golden Gaels tank is going back into the UAlbany's backlines while UAlbany's Venture is going into their backline. So it's really they're both going for diving here. And it's really interesting to see how it works out because so far it seems pretty evenly matched. And even though Golden Gaels is on the back leg right now, it might be interesting to see what they have up their sleeve. And you look at that, UAlbany has a point, and they've overtaken Golden Gaels in terms of percentage. But Golden Gaels does not want to go down without a fight, and they are coming back and swinging. And it seems like the hamster does not want to die. Just the Imperial popping her ult, and it looks like the hamster might live for a little bit long, but don't want to say anything. But yeah, it looks like Golden Gaels' tank died, and they lost the first round to UAlbany.
Score 1-0. Ready for battle.
Okay, small correction here. The blue team is actually, instead, the Golden Gaels, and the red team is actually UAlbany. So UAlbany actually lost the first round of Golden Gaels. It's really interesting to see how they both have similar strategies. It looks like UAlbany is trying something a little bit different here, switching up their tank and team comps by a considerable amount, but let's see what happens here, because it looks like they're in the first confrontation. It looks like UAlbany's tank is going up into their face and is in the point, and it doesn't seem to be doing that badly actually, even though he might have lost most of his health. UAlbany's judo is unfortunately out of the play, however, and it doesn't look like it's doing very well for UAlbany managed to lose 3 of their members, but they are back. But it doesn't seem like Golden Gaels is letting up the pressure, pressuring UAlbany back into their spawn actually, which isn't that great since this is mostly a choke point, and without many mobility units in UAlbany, they can't really go around it. And it looks like Golden Gaels Orisa is trying to keep them in there as much as possible. Even though one of them actually managed to get past them, but it doesn't look like UAlbany's foot inside of their area even though the stage. Orisa just popped her ult, and yeah, Golden Gaels are pretty much pressuring UAlbany back into their spawn. And it doesn't seem like UAlbany's is going to do anything amazing unless they have to regroup. Freya was trying to take some shots in, but it does seem like it's doing something, but if she does overextend, she will get killed. And it looks like UAlbany's entire team is back here, and they are moving in like in a full team, and it does look like they've got their foot inside the door. Let's see if they can keep it open. Unfortunately, 3 of UAlbany's squad, 4 of UAlbany's team has already been killed, and it doesn't look too hot for them. Yeah, it doesn't look too well for them at all. It seems like the Golden Gaels have them pressured into the spawn room with no other way of getting out. Unless they actually... but it does seem like the Golden Gaels are retreating quite a bit, actually. And UAlbany is now deciding to live in this, to say so myself, but it does... UAlbany pop their ult to try to rush the point, it seems like. And it does seem like it's working for them quite well, because only the Orisa remains inside of the point. And there goes Orisa, so it does seem like UAlbany actually changed their tank to Orisa to try to combat their Orisa with a little bit of mirror match here, and it looks like Golden Gaels Venture over here tried to go in, but he couldn't be and got stopped by UAlbany's front line fairly quickly. He does look like he's trying to go in again once more though, but he's not really making much leeway. And both teams are pretty much trading health points right now. None are really dying as of now, but except for UAlbany's Freya. I missed that, but yeah, UAlbany's losing team members quickly, more and more quickly right now. And it does seem like Kirito's holding on though. You do need that team in there to support that tank if you want those touches far, but it doesn't look like Kirito has died, and only UAlbany's Orisa remains, and it doesn't look like she is here anymore. With Freya backing off and trying to do some damage while she's still there. And it looks like Venture is back to his little shenanigans and holding the point against UAlbany until UAlbany's attention. And it looks like Venture's on a little bit of rampage. We switch back to UAlbany's Orisa here. And it did seem like the mirror match sort of worked back there, so it would be interesting to see how they would fare against that, but unfortunately it was a little bit too late. And Golden Gaels take the first match. While it's interesting to see how Golden Gaels' synergy works for them, I do feel like UAlbany has several more tricks up their sleeve that they could perhaps pull in a later game. Maybe perhaps now they've learned how the Golden Gaels play, they could perhaps make some adjustments and improve their synergy as well as their performance.
Esperanza. Initiating match.
And we are on to the second match of the day. And right now we are doing push instead of the other game modes. And what's really interesting about push is that the team that gets the first conflict, that wins the first conflict and gets the robot first, actually has a lot more of an upper hand than the other team, since the other team, first of all, they have to get the robot back. Second of all, they have to escort the robot back to their barrier. And third of all, have to stay with the robot until they manage to push the barrier further. So so the first conflict is really important here.
Ready for battle.
And it looks like for UAlbany, they've switched back to their hamster. They've got Zenyatta, and they've got Baptiste, they've got Soldier 76, and they've got Genji. For the Golden Gaels, it seems like they are not going with it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. They are indeed switching their tank from Orisa to Winston, which will be interesting to see here. And we are off, and let's see when the first two teams encounter each other. It doesn't look like Winston jumped back onto the bridge, see to get a little vantage point going here, and it does look like UAlbany's hamster ball is going back into the backline and is going on a rampage, but can't really do much because of how Tank's presence is doing soaking up most of the damage. And it looks like UAlbany is still standing their ground over here and is even taking a venture and some of the Golden Gaels' team, and it looks like they're pretty evenly matched as of now. None are gaining much ground for now, but there does feel like there will be much changing, and it doesn't look like it's paused.
Mouse died.
Oh. We are facing some technical difficulties. We will come back very shortly. And we are back. Unfortunately, earlier one of UAlbany's members' mouses died, so they had to change the batteries. But it doesn't look like UAlbany's got a little bit of a back foot here because they managed to get the robot and put the barrier back 21 meters, 22 meters, and counting. And it is interesting to see how UAlbany fares against this. It doesn't seem like they were focusing on one of the players back there, and it does seem like they ran into the rest of the team, and in which case it will be very hard to actually get any ground here because of how both teams are fully present. And the two tanks are facing off against each other. Meanwhile, Golden Gaels' Tracer is here taking pot shots at UAlbany players who are near the robot. And it's very interesting to see here how UAlbany is still around, and it doesn't look like anybody being much of an upper hand just yet. UAlbany managed to take 3 of Golden Gaels' teammates, so it does seem like they might be able to do something here. And actually, my fault. It's UAlbany who has the upper hand over here because they are indeed pushing the robot instead of the other team pushing the robot, instead of Golden Gaels pushing the robot. So it's actually UAlbany who has the upper hand here, which is great since in the first match it was pretty one-sided since the Golden Gaels hold over the point was very strong. But it doesn't look like they're in a bit of a redemption arc over here with the robot, since they are holding onto it so well. And they just reached 91 meters, which would be hard to beat in the next round if they do a next round. And it does seem like UAlbany here does not want to relinquish their dominance over the robot and we face another problem here, so we will be back very shortly. And we are back. Unfortunately, one of the players disconnected earlier, so that was just and we are back with UAlbany's Hamster right in Golden Gaels' face over here. But it does look like Golden Gaels Kate and then Yada is going back to UAlbany's line and is trying to establish dominance over there, taking away Soldier 76's life and also taking away Zenyatta's life. And it does look like UAlbany is out of healing, and the tank is the only one remaining up there, and he is retreating fast, and we don't blame him because he was the only one left, and if the tank were to stay there, he would have simply had to respawn at a later time. And it does look like the Hamster is back in the Golden Gaels' backline to try to establish a bit of a dominance over at the Golden Gaels' side and see if they could potentially slow down the barrier to push forward. But it does seem like Winston is also going back into the UAlbany backline and is currently causing a rampage here, even taking 2 of UAlbany members out of commission. And it looks like he's going for some Soldier 76, and he managed to succeed, and he has taken 3 of UAlbany's teammates out of commission. Now, even though UAlbany still has the upper hand here, they do have to step up the game to make sure that the Golden Gaels do not, in fact, manage to overtake them. Because even without their tanks, the Golden Gaels are pretty powerful. And it doesn't look like Echo has fallen on Golden Gaels' side, and it doesn't look like the Soldier 76 on UAlbany's side also has fallen. It looks like the Tracer also has fallen on the Golden Gaels' side. It looks like the tank is actually, UAlbany's Hamster is actually doing pretty well on his end. And it looks like they have the robot back and is currently in the process of moving it back over to the barrier, even though with Winston still over here, still over here, and still
No one can stop me.
terrorizing UAlbany's members.
Adaptive circuits
And
engaged.
he dives straight back into UAlbany's team, and it doesn't look like UAlbany's is going to let that happen again because of how many times it's already happened before, and is currently defending his team, and it doesn't look like it's succeeded because UAlbany's team is currently not that dead, but even though he tried to defend his team, he does look like he sacrificed his life for it, which wouldn't be that bad of a trade. As long as UAlbany manages to maintain their position without their tank, and it does look like they're backing off a bit here because of how aggressively the Golden Gaels are currently playing, and it doesn't look like they're in too good of a position here. And even though they did slow down the Golden Gaels a little bit, it did not really get them the robot back, but it does seem like UAlbany's team is back, and it does look like they are planning something. But let's see what they have in store. And the hamster is back into the back line. Oh, he came out and he is going back into the front line with his impressive mobility. It is natural for him to move a lot, which makes him a really hard target. And yeah, it's pretty much a very hard target for the Golden Gaels to actually kill. But once they do manage to get the hamster, though, it does weaken the UAlbany quite a bit, because it does seem like Golden Gaels Winston is quite a menace against UAlbany's team here.
Stay out of my way.
But it does look like UAlbany has the robot back, and this was what I was talking about earlier with how the person who gets the team who gets wins the first conflict is actually the one with the most advantage, because now the Golden Gaels cannot get their robot back and push it forward at all because of how UAlbany is intercepting them. And it does look like UAlbany here is UAlbany's tank over here is establishing a front line alongside the robot and some of his team, and is currently in the process of pushing Golden Gaels back into their barrier.
Please come with us.
And it seems like the Golden Gaels aren't going to let up without a fight, though, because Winston's aggressive push did pay off and managed to push UAlbany back into corner. And it looks like UAlbany is losing a lot of ground here with most of their team taking losses, but it does seem like they are planning to be playing in this position by taking the robot back, letting them get the robot, and pretty much in this sort of standstill, because even though they are not able to get the robot back and push it forward, they wouldn't have to, since they will already be winning by default if the timer runs out. And it looks like the hamster popped his ult to establish a bit of a dominance here, and it does look like it paid off because UAlbany has the robot back, and that's what I was talking about. UAlbany doesn't need to take the robot and push it back per se, because they can simply take it, push it for a bit, and then move, and then they do not have to win the next encounter with Golden Gaels, because they are not required to. It does look very interesting, though, on how these two teams play with each other, and how I noticed how Golden Gaels is a tracer, and Echo consistently try to find an angle so they can aim at UAlbany's backline, and perhaps take away some of UAlbany's swishing defense first before focusing on the hamster. And it does look like UAlbany is not letting up their assault rate, and they are still managing it pretty well, even though Winston has popped his own, and he is taking some of UAlbany's team down with him. And yeah, UAlbany has essentially made Winston take his ult out, and essentially take out UAlbany's team. which gives them the robot back. But can the Golden Gaels take the robot back, push it all the way back to the barrier, and push it forward to 120 meters, which is an extra 40 meters. Now UAlbany has the upper hand here. All they have to do is team wipe the Golden Gaels, and they will have won the match. Won the round, but let's see how they do their counter here. It looks like Zenyatta is actually doing pretty well, and Zenyatta is the rest of his team, and it does look like UAlbany has taken the match.
Play of the game.
Thought of you.
Now entering King's Row.
With the scores now at 1-1, it does seem like it could be anybody's game here. Even though UAlbany lost their footing a little bit on the first match, they did manage to redeem themselves in the second match and push where they got an early head start, an early advantage, and managed to keep that advantage for the rest of the match, netting them the victory. So let's see what happens here on King's Row,
Ready for battle.
where UAlbany had decided to switch their take once more for Orisa. And it does seem like there are several heroes that are parallel to each other in both teams, with both teams having a Mei and an Orisa, which is quite interesting to see.
Have you heard
a
from your
40%
father?
mirror match inside of a hero shooter.
It's been harder to contact him since you escaped the Hashimoto.
It would be very intriguing to see how they interact with each other and how their first conflict goes.
Don't be. I'm sure he's just glad you're back.
5, 4,
But yeah, let's see how they both do in this new
defend objective.
match. Looks like first encounter and going off with both the Orisas on the front and trying their best to break through the other Orisa's guard. And it does look like Yami's Orisa is going in for a little bit.
They're on the objective. Push them out.
It looks here that as Golden Gaels is Mei has died and Golden Gaels has retreated, giving UAlbany points that the opening to capture the point, which gets them the payload. Is the first part of the match, which is great for UAlbany that they did this very early, but let's see if they can maintain it because it doesn't look like UAlbany can really hold their line for long. But now that they're taken back, let's see how they fare against Golden Gaels once more. It doesn't look like Yami's also going to the front. Let's see how they do. And Golden Gaels' vehicle was up there terrorizing Yami's team a little bit, but it's getting back here, down here, and up close and personal with Orisa trying to get the Orisa kill here. But ever since he went down by 100 health, it's safe, but he still needs a lot of damage while we're safe because of how everything is still there. It doesn't look too hot for UAlbany because of how Hanzo's ult has managed to get the lead on. But Rhea is still here and she's still doing her best to hold the line. But it doesn't seem like Golden Gaels is going to let up the pressure either with taking the payload once more. And then we with Reaper is back up in his little nest and is currently terrorizing UAlbany's team once more. And he fell back down, which is good for UAlbany. But terrible, a little bit terrible for the Reaper was against UAlbany's Orisa. It doesn't seem like the two teams are beating that out with each other, trying to get the upper hand. Doesn't look like UAlbany has taken some hits, and it doesn't look like UAlbany has taken some losses. But let's see what UAlbany comes up with once they regroup. This side is trying to go back here, but she almost got killed. But fortunately, due to UAlbany's fatigue stage, Orisa managed to stay alive actually. Reaper's back up in his nest once more, but let's see what he's coming up with. He's actually going back to his feet because he's getting chased. But let's see what happens here when the two teams clash once more because of how UAlbany is back up to the payload. Now, UAlbany here has a hold on payload, but the thing is, they have to get through that choke point, which the Golden Gaels have to set up, which is a little bit concerning because of how the Golden Gaels popped another Hanzo ult, which ended up 4 kills, which is pretty bad for UAlbany. It does seem like the Golden Gaels' Hanzo is really useful with his ult. He's really resourceful with his ult, taking away most of UAlbany's team, and it doesn't look like UAlbany will have to find a way to neutralize the Hanzo if they do want to, in fact, win the match. So both teams are back in the corner, and they are battling each other out once more. They managed to get the curator, which is pretty good, but UAlbany's entire team has been wiped. bad, but look at the silver lining. They all spawned at the same time now, which will allow them to regroup a lot easier. But unfortunately, UAlbany Batiste, they just got killed, which is not bad. But it looks like Golden Gaels' Hanzo really is being the star of the match here, putting immense amounts of pressure on UAlbany's team while also taking most of their team out. It doesn't look like the Hanzo is actually very close to another ult, so he might be using it once more against UAlbany again, which is very bad for UAlbany. But and it looks like the ult has been launched, and it doesn't look like they also use to wipe out, essentially wipe out UAlbany's team here. But even though they did manage to wipe out UAlbany's team, they're still pushing them back quite a bit, which is not that great for UAlbany, but let's see what they come up with. They tried to fall back, but it did not really go that well because of how aggressive they were being. But let's see what happens here. Next encounter, because it does seem like the Golden Gaels' hold on the payload is very unrelenting. And yes, the Golden Gaels seem to have pushed UAlbany back into this little choke point here that are pretty much forcing Orissa's to try to do that, because Orisa is really great at holding down one point, but can't really do much once they are multiple points. But it does look like Orisa has managed to pave a way for UAlbany to put their loot inside of the front door for a little bit, but it does look like UAlbany might have a chance at getting the payload back, and they are indeed getting the payload back, but let's see if they can hold it, because right now it is in overtime, and if they do lose this payload and get team wiped, that is the final position. So let's see how UAlbany can actually Golden Gaels. But they look like they are doing pretty well actually, because they've taken some of the Golden Gaels members, which has allowed them to push the payload even forward to the next point actually, which nets them another minute and a half, putting them out of overtime and into one of the final sections of the game, which is very nice for them. They managed to stop a little bit mid-match. They are doing pretty well in the late game over here. It does look like Golden Gaels' Hanzo is back on top of the vantage point, and with alongside their Reaper trying to get into their backline, but it doesn't look like UAlbany is going to let them defeat them that much into their backline. But it doesn't look like Orisa is back, because Golden Gaels' Reaper and managed to kill Orisa, which is kind of like a floodgate, because once Orisa dies, pretty much a lot of UAlbany's team also goes as well.
A dark step.
So they are back to the entrance of the cave, which is not that great for UAlbany, but they did pretty well, so they might be, they pulled off a pretty well move, but they might pull it off again. But it does look like Golden Gaels' Reaper is actually going back into the backline and is breaking them, and is doing pretty well, popping his own, and he is generally being a menace to UAlbany's team here. So here we have like a sort of pattern. The two DPSs in all across the matches are always sort of menaces against the UAlbany team, and it does feel like UAlbany has to better defend against the Golden Gaels' DPS, whilst also paying attention, because they do pay attention to all of the heroes, but it does look like the two DPSs require a little bit more attention. Now we are switching once more, and it looks like UAlbany is sticking with their Orisa strategy, while the Golden Gaels is actually switching their Orisa out for a Zarya, which will be very interesting to see here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They do still keep Reaper and Hanzo here, which is quite sensible since due to how their performance in the previous round managed to pretty much stop UAlbany in their tracks multiple times. It does look like their Reaper is back and back, but it's making quite a headway over there, and is currently in the process of sort of pushing UAlbany a little bit backwards. So it does look like UAlbany's Orisa isn't really letting that happen right now, and they are keeping the Golden Gaels out of the point relatively well for now. And it looks like Reaper is focusing all his attention on Orisa, but it doesn't look like he got the because of how he's gone. But it does look like Golden Gaels is making a little bit of headway here. They might be doing something here, but it's too early to say anything just yet because of how their team is currently a little sort of fickle as of now. But it doesn't look like they respawn very quickly because of how close this is to the spawn point. So really here, it's if UAlbany slips up here, it will manage to give the Golden Gaels a chance to perhaps capture the payload, but the thing is, as long as UAlbany plays well, it doesn't seem like the Golden Gaels will be actually able to push them back.
Get in there.
And you can see here as the Orisa is actually pushing the Golden Gaels back a little bit. It's sort of a little back and forth game here, and it doesn't seem like she's laying up a little bit. It doesn't seem like the Golden Gaels' choice to choose Zarya was all that well. It doesn't seem like it's paying off for them. But it does seem like UAlbany's choice for choosing Orisa is actually doing relatively well for them, even though Hanzo just popped his ult and taken one of their teammates. It doesn't look like they're still and it doesn't look like they're still holding on with a bit of the ground here. So frontline as Cassie and Hanzo are laying down some DPS over here, but it does seem like they both are gone, and it seems like UAlbany has to sort of regroup here before they come back and try to perhaps stop the Golden Gaels from moving the payload too far.
Objective lost. Stop the payload.
It really is interesting to see though how UAlbany also picked Hanzo after they saw how Hanzo performed in the last match. So they might be trying to replicate some of the strategies used by the Golden Gaels here, and perhaps use Hanzo as a sort of way to get back at the Golden Gaels. It does seem like UAlbany's Orisa is pretty involved in getting into the enemy's face and managing to pop her ult, but not managing to actually kill them before dying herself, which is not that great, but it does seem like it is having an effect on UAlbany's team as they are currently falling back and falling further back because of how aggressively the Golden Gaels are currently playing.
Guess what you got going?
It does seem like the Golden Gaels have to push back into the corner here, but let's see what UAlbany does in order to alleviate this pressure in a way and sort of push back against them. We can see Hanzo moving into a advantage. We can see Orisa back in the game and up front once more. We can see the Reaper hiding here, but he got found out by Hanzo, so he's currently going back. This is great for UAlbany because if they did not manage to capture Hanzo, it might have been really bad for them. If they did not manage to capture that Reaper, it might have been really bad for them. It doesn't look like they're trading a lot, trading a bit actually, but it doesn't look like it is looking up for UAlbany because of how most of the Golden Gaels' team is currently gone. let's see if UAlbany can maintain this for 2 minutes so they can actually be able to win the match. Because this was also a point where UAlbany was stuck on the previous round, so let's see if they can perhaps use this corner to the same effect as the Golden Gaels did in the previous round, which doesn't seem like to be the case because of how the Golden Gaels are refusing to back down, but then again, they aren't really making much of a headway because of how they're pretty much battling for every single base of the round. It does look like both teams are down at Hanzo, but it doesn't look like actually UAlbany might be making a little bit of headway because of how they managed to kill the Warlock and is currently focusing. But fortunately actually, UAlbany managed to take away their tank, which will put them in the advantage and will hopefully manage to allow them to keep the pin. And it does look like they did, and it does seem like the Golden Gaels are stuck inside of the same spot, with Hanzo pretty much with UAlbany's Hanzo pretty much being a menace to Golden Gaels, like the Golden Gaels Hanzo was to UAlbany in the previous round. They are pretty much fighting fire with fire, and it looks like their Kirito just popped an ult. But it doesn't seem to be doing much of an effect. It doesn't seem like the Golden Gaels is rushing much, but until now, actually. So they pop their ult, they wait for it, and then they rush, which seemed to pay out for them because of how they actually took UAlbany. And it does seem like UAlbany is losing quite a bit of ground here, and UAlbany has only their tank remaining, which is not that great, because a tank needs the team to survive, and the team needs the tank to survive. So it's sort of a symbiotic relationship. If one falls, the other will as well. And it looks like UAlbany will have to step their game up because they've just passed a checkpoint. And if they do manage to surpass UAlbany, they will lose. So let's see if UAlbany can get the payload back before they pass that specific point. And it doesn't seem like they will because of how the Hanzo managed to pop his ult and pretty much take away UAlbany's advantage, home ground advantage here, and get them the win. It's very interesting to see how in this match the Hanzo of the Golden Gaels team really sort of pushed UAlbany's team back multiple times and pretty much maintain the advantage over there. And UAlbany tried to do the same with their Hanzo, but it did not have the same effect as it did with their team. So it was really interesting to see here. But it is now 2-1 in favor of the Golden Gaels. So let's see. Next point will be match point for the Golden Gaels. So let's see if UAlbany can pull this back once more like they did with the previous game.
Arriving at Watchpoint Gibraltar. Initiating match.
Alrighty, here we are going into our third and possibly final match here with 2-1 in favor of the Golden Gaels, and we can see here in the team comp we can actually see how they are changing up a little bit here with Golden Gaels actually going back to Winston. They're also taking Tracer again. They're also taking Venture again. They're actually going back to a similar loadout as they did with the first match, and it looks like UAlbany is also changing up a little bit here with Widowmaker actually, but it does seem like they're still using Genji. They're still using Zenyatta, and they're still using Bridget. So we'll see how this team comp fares against the tank tried to go in for a little bit, but the thing is there were already two players that they were waiting for him, so he couldn't really do much unless he did anything, of course, which he did do in fact, so he's still currently there and is trying to get some leeway over there, and it does seem like he managed to get that leeway, and it looks like UAlbany has an early hold of the payload here. With Widowmaker on the back lines, pretty much doing the same role as Hanzo had in the previous round, and it does seem like it's providing quite a generous amount of support for the UAlbany team here. And because the UAlbany tank is up front and is trying to soak up as much of the Golden Gaels' attention as possible, which he managed to do, but it did in fact kill him, and it doesn't look too hot for UAlbany's team with them mostly getting speed white here. On the bright side, UAlbany has a really easy way of grouping up back together, so we'll see on this corner how UAlbany fares against their team once again. UAlbany's tank is going up and personal with their other tank, and it does look like they need to do that right now. It looks like UAlbany's Genji actually switches out to the soldier, which is an interesting movement over here, but let's see how it pays off for it, because it does seem like UAlbany needs a way to sort of break the Golden Gaels in order for them to actually secure the game and possibly win. So with UAlbany playing it back, he's doing a little bit of damage, but the thing is, he's doing a little bit of damage. He's taking some players, but he doesn't look like he's doing that well in terms of guidance. It doesn't look like a Winston here. Winston, he popped his ult and he's back in UAlbany's space, and it's pretty much generally being a menace here, like he was back in the push game, which is interesting to see here. But it does look like the Golden Gaels don't want UAlbany ever actually pushing back against them. So we can see here how you can see the Tracer again off to the side, pretty much being a menace to UAlbany's team, and we can see Venture here actually waiting for UAlbany to pass by, so he can probably go down and take most of them. Well, let's see what he does here. It's very interesting to see how this one player actually waits in the corner for UAlbany to pass by so he can possibly get an upper hit on him, but it didn't really happen that time. How UAlbany's tank was actually present. It does look like UAlbany's Zenyatta has popped his ult and is trying to keep the team alive, which is doing pretty well. And one of UAlbany's DPS has actually switched one score from a soldier to Reaper, which is very interesting, but I didn't catch this. Just a minute. Yeah. It does look like UAlbany's tank is really taking some losses here. Even though Tank is trying really well and trying really hard to sort of dive into the back and establish a presence there, it doesn't seem like it's really paying off. So we have the Winston on top of pretty much keeping UAlbany off of his team's back, but with the Orton, it doesn't seem like it does seem like trying to get what we want to do with Albany. The Golden Gaels are team wiping UAlbany once more. So things are not looking too hot for UAlbany right now, but this is the wonder of video games. In a video game, you can always pull back from a defeat. So let's see whether or not UAlbany will be able to pull this back.
Initiating match.
Will they be able to perform a miracle? Let's hope they do.
Ready for battle.
Looks like the Golden Gaels are going with a similar team comms, but switching up the DPSs a little bit with Symmetra over there. Really interesting to see that. It does look like UAlbany is also switching up a bit. Instead of having Genji now, they have Mei and Reaper, which will be interesting to see. Reaper, they did switch over to Reaper near the end back there, but oh wow, it feels like the most interesting switch here is actually their tank to Roadhog, which is sensible because their previous tank did not really perform that well. But let's see how Roadhog does, because Roadhog's design is an intentional rule breaker. So a tank that actively takes people from the back, which is very interesting here. So let's see how it fares against Golden Gaels' with Roadhog's powerful hero. It doesn't seem like he will be dying easily. And it does seem like it is working out for them with Roadhog actually taking Winston out here, and is currently trying to focus on Venture here. Venture, notoriously one of the more menacing figures in UAlbany's first game, actually. But it does seem like Tracer is on the payload right now, so they sort of have to focus on Tracer if they want to pull this match back, which the Reaper is currently doing, facing off Tracer, and might not be the best outcome, but it looks like more of UAlbany's people is coming back and is hopefully going to take this Tracer out so that they would be able to punch the payload back. But it does seem like they managed to get the Tracer out, and they have their presence back onto the payload. It does look like UAlbany's Roadhog is doing relatively well holding that line over there. So we might be seeing a comeback over here, and we might be seeing a little bit of a redemption on with UAlbany's Roadhog over here, because of how it's practically breaking up Golden Gaels' team without much effort. But it does look like Golden Gaels' Tracer is still behind the payload, and is sneakily pushing it up, and is generally pretty much being a menace. And she has been doing this for quite a while, so I feel like UAlbany does have to find a way to sort of combat that, because she does this once more and she'll win, but it doesn't look too hot for UAlbany right now, because their team is gone and it doesn't look too hot for them, and it looks like Golden Gaels takes the 4th round. So, which means Golden Gaels win 3-1. Which is very unfortunate for UAlbany. And I feel like they really did have potential at winning, but it does seem like Golden Gaels is a little bit too strong of a team for them to take on just yet. So, unfortunately, for now, they have lost, but it's never the end. So we will see how they perform next time. Perhaps they will learn from this match, and they will perhaps improve, and they will take back the win next time. So we'll see. Yeah. This has been your host, and UA, you know.